The trucking industry says botched messaging from Ottawa officials regarding a vaccine mandate for truckers is leaving workers and the supply chain in flux. Today, all essential transport drivers must be fully vaccinated to cross the border, and Canadian drivers who don't have 2 jabs will face quarantine and testing mandates. Jason Guidola reports.
Karamjeet Libra, who's hauling peanut butter into Canada, says he's vaccinated and anticipates more changes on the job, as Canadian truckers crossing land borders must be vaccinated to avoid quarantine starting today.
Those are not vaccinated are not going to work, so it's fully load on the other drivers. Those are vaccinated.
It was a quiet day at the Peace Bridge in Fort Erie, and major trucking associations say some may be blindsided by the mandate.
The Canadian drivers that are unvaccinated that left in that 16-hour window thinking they weren't going to have to quarantine, and when they arrive at the border, they're going to have to quarantine and lose 2 weeks' pay.
President of the Private Motor Truck Council of Canada, Mike Millian, says Ottawa has left the sector confused and disrupted many drivers already en route back into the country. Canadian riggers who are not vaccinated must quarantine and meet PCR testing requirements. Unvaccinated Americans are to be denied entry. Millian says earlier in the week, federal officials axed the planned policy from 2 months ago. But following Ottawa's briefing Thursday, it reversed its decision, ending trucker exemptions.
We believe vaccines are the way out of this, but you can't make a decision in a silo. And that's what our concern is.
Canadian and American trucking associations say there are roughly 160,000 truckers who make cross-border trips on a regular basis. And they believe up to 16% of them will be sidelined in some way because of the mandate. Even bigger concerns are being raised regarding more disruptions and shortages in supply chains like food, pharmaceuticals, and big box items.
70% of the Canada-U.S. trade, which totals about $460 billion, moves by truck. It will make a fragile supply chain even more fragile.
President with the Canadian Trucking Alliance, Stephen Leskowski, says larger impacts to supply are expected in the coming weeks due to a lack of drivers.
We're short 23,000 drivers in Q3 of last year. There are no replacement drivers.
In Niagara, Jason Guidola, CHCH News.